down 6-0. What was that feeling
Yeah.
like with the team?
Yeah, it's crazy to hear. Oh my gosh, it was one of the biggest comebacks ever, and it was one of the craziest games in women's lacrosse history because we were so in shock of what had just happened that I didn't even realize that. We got back to Boston College and we had a full welcome committee after we got off the bus, and there were local news stations, and one of the reporters asked, he's like, "Hey, how does it feel to be a part of one of the biggest comebacks ever in women's lacrosse?" And my teammates and I were like, "Oh my gosh, did that really happen? Like, was that really what the storyline was?" So it was honestly crazy. And I think going out of the game, like leaving the locker room for that first quarter, I would not say that we had a lack of energy. We had any lapse in momentum, but we did not come out hot. We did not come out hot, and it showed. And we made a few adjustments in our huddles, but I think a moment that stuck out to me and that will stick out to me forever was our coach brought us in, and she said, "Hey, like, I think this was between the first quarter and the second quarter. She said, "Hey, don't worry about the score. Like, we're not worried about the score. We need to fix X, Y, and Z." And we all kind of just did one of these, like, shook our heads, like, eyes wide, like, locked on our coach. And later on, she said, she was like, "I was actually shocked that you guys weren't like, what do you mean, don't worry about the score? Like, we're down 6-0. And we were all like, "Yeah, like, we got you. Like, tell us more. What do we need to do?" And that was a really cool moment because, one, I didn't even realize that was our response in the moment.
Right.
And two, because that was our response. And I think you can attribute it to a lot of things. I think you can attribute to the leadership that we had on the team this year. I think you can attribute to the souls of the girls on the team. I refuse to lose attitude. And I think just with the experience that our team has had playing in for the last 4 national championship games, in the last game last year, same venue, same team, we lost by 12. So, all right, you're going to tell me I'm down. Like, now what? Like, cake, we've been there, basically. We've been there. Yeah. So I think that, like, as tough as that last year's game was to lose to Northwestern so horribly and just honestly getting embarrassed, was so cool to be able to turn that around. And especially for our team, to have that experience, like, okay, like, we've been down before, like, now what? Like, what are we going to do about it? So there were definitely a lot of intense huddles, but I think something that really helped us throughout that to get to that point was, when you lose national championships, it's really hard and you don't want to talk about it because there's a lot of emotions and feelings and probably some regrets there. But our captains and our coaches made the decision before we got to the hotel, to the Final Four in North Carolina, hey, like, we got to leverage this experience. If we've been to the last 7 championships, this group of girls has been, the senior class has been to 4. We've only won 1. Like, we got to talk about it and we got to use it. And that was something that I really appreciated from our leadership group and our coaches. And so our captains brought our team in. They say, hey, for the next 2 days, we're going to do a little circle talk, and half of the people are going to go today, half of the people are going to go tomorrow night. This was before our semifinal game. And you're going to talk about any experience you have with the Final Four. You could be a fan. You could be 6 years old. You could be the best person on the field. You could be on the opposite team. We've had people who are freshmen with transfers, seniors who have been here for 4 years. And that was a really cool discussion because we had people laughing their heads off. We had people bawling their eyes out. I know I was crying when some of my teammates were talking. Just to hear those stories of, hey, this is when I fell in love with lacrosse, or this is when I, got a yellow card. I was in the penalty box and I felt like it was all my fault. Or this was when I became a BC lacrosse fan because I saw the neon in the stands. Like, just to hear those stories, I think, number one, it brought our team closer together than ever, which is crazy because it's your last week of your season. You would never think that a team in the championship is going to get closer in their last week of the season. And that happened. And so I think having the ability to talk through our experiences of the Final Fours, whether you were playing or you weren't playing, was a huge bonding moment for our team. And it really kind of got out the regrets or the fear or the really great moments that, you hold on to, but those don't matter anymore. Past success does not guarantee future success. And so I think that was a really special moment for me and my team.
So when you talk about like I love that the leadership was like, wait a minute, we've been here in the X amount of last years. We have to draw from that.
Mhm,
Um, when one of your coaches takes you after the first quarter and says, don't worry about the score. This is what we have to do. Do you think the difference maker was actually adjusting those X's and O's, or was it
mhm.
an attitude adjustment? What do you think was the difference maker going into quarters 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the X's and O's. I think we needed the ball. We didn't have the ball, and you need possession. And turnovers, you can't turn the ball over. So I think it was definitely X's and O's. And we have the smartest coaches, some of the smartest coaches in the world. And we were also competing against one of the most talented, smartest coaches, Kelly Monty, in the world. So definitely an insane environment to be in, but we made some adjustments. And that's something too that I think is really special and unique about our team is that when we're practicing at practice and maybe it's going really well and you don't need to make an adjustment on the field, our captains and our defensive leaders, for example, will say, okay, you know what, we're going to make a change and we're going to practice this defensive set or this defensive play for no reason other than just to practice it and to make an adjustment and to practice, okay, something's going really well or not going really well. Now we got to switch our game plan entirely. And so I think
Hmm.
that wasn't just something that our team just turned on. That was something that we've practiced since last September. And so I think for the coaches to come in and say, hey, this is what we got to do, X, Y, and Z, and for our leaders to lead the way and do that, we've done it. Like we've done it before in many practices. So I think you're right. I think it was definitely the X's and O's. And then that's when our heart and soul for trying to win just caught on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously the momentum carried forward. I was reading about some key saves your goaltender made, especially at
Mhm.
the end there. Heart rates, take me through your heart rate or, what that
Oh
was
my
like
gosh. Yeah.
watching those saves. Yeah.
It was insane. I love that you brought that up because I honestly like blacked out during that. I was on the sideline. So I was like completely in shock of what was going on because there was a free position goal that could tie up the game. It was a huge moment. And I could see the camera guy like right below me, kind of filming our reactions. And I was trying not to like let him distract me because he was kind of like standing at our feet, like right by my
Right.
feet. And so we got the camera guy right at my feet. I got my teammates pulling on my jersey, like, because they're, freaking out. And so I actually, earlier in the game, I looked over at my teammate Kit and I said, Kit, like, I love you to death. You can grab onto my jersey much as you want. Just don't rip the jersey. Please don't rip my jersey. And so we're all
Yeah.
grabbing onto each other. We got chaos around us. You can barely hear anything. The crowd is going crazy. And Shea Dolce, our goalie sophomore, just made this insane kick save. And what's funny is I was to basically win us the game. And I was in the equipment room when we got back to Boston College, just grabbing my jerseys because I'm a senior. I'm going to take them. I'm leaving. I'm getting all of my last things, and I overheard them talking that they wanted to frame Shay's left cleat, the cleat
Oh,
that
wow.
made the save. They wanted to frame her left cleat, which was crazy because just watching it live, I didn't even realize that it was a kick save. I just kind of saw the ball go, and then you freak out, and then you don't remember anything because you have so much adrenaline. But rewatching it back, there were a few Boston College fan accounts that said, hey, hold your finger here on the dots and you can slide through, watch the progression of Shay's save, and it's blown up everywhere. So that was an insane moment. Honestly, like I barely remember I even seeing the ball fly out because it was so crazy. And my own teammates' arms in my face. We were all pulling on each other. We had camera people everywhere. But yeah, those are moments that you're never gonna forget. And I just think it's so funny that they wanna frame her left cleat. It's awesome.